Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me on this podcast. I am Veronica Isles, and I am a conscious manifesting coach based in Chicago. And I'm answering your questions for free on this podcast. I'm going to answer 3 voice notes that were submitted to me. If you would like your question answered on a future podcast, all you have to do is download the Anchor app. Find me at Veronica Isles and submit me that voice note. It is super simple. I do also offer one-on-one coaching. You can learn more about me at VeronicaIsles.com and do visit me on YouTube. I have over 67,000 subscribers and over 400 videos on the law of attraction, conscious creation, and tons of ways to make your life better, including improving your relationships. Okay, so let's get to the questions. Question number 1.
Hey Veronica, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to ask you questions, and I can't wait to hear back from you. Currently in a situation where my SP lives in a different city. Actually, the city that I've been wanting to move to since freshman year of college, and it's crazy because I didn't know that at that time. We kind of lost connection because I moved to a different city after that. But I always kept hope that I would end up marrying him. Until this day, almost like 6 years later, I'm still in that mindset. So I added him on Instagram and found out that he moved there, and also found out that he had a girlfriend. And I recently checked his profile, and it turns out I think he might still be in that relationship. What do you recommend, and what should I do? So I'm dealing with, I guess, a third party, and he lives in a different city, which I'm also working on, creating my dream and moving there and finding my job, which I know it will work out. I know that aspect will work out this year. Not to hesitant about that. But yeah, just recently he actually just came down to town, and I didn't get to see him at church. I was kind of disappointed, and I was like, God, I was like, well, if I was meant to be with him, why didn't I get to see him this weekend? Why didn't I get to see him? Why didn't we bump into each other? My entire weekend just took a toll, and it was just negative, and I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to think when my reality isn't that way? So what do you recommend that I do on a daily basis and to improve that mindset and to think positive?
Okay, so thank you so much for submitting this question, and I hope this answer can help you. First of all, if you feel that you would like to experience a relationship with this person, then there's definitely a way to make this happen. I know that it can be difficult when the current reality is the complete opposite of what you ideally want, but whenever you try to manifest something, the current reality will always be the exact opposite. That's why you have the desire. You wouldn't have the desire if there was, if you were close to the goal, like you wouldn't have this burning desire within you, and you wouldn't form this intention. So you're right on. You do not have to have any current evidence of it. Obviously, it appears to be frustrating when there's a third party involved, but I think a third party goes into the category of a quote unquote obstacle. And in any situation, there could be a perceived obstacle, and it could be labeled from anything from a third party to pretty much anything else. So I would definitely say to start by really not looking at social media. Social media is going to put you vulnerable to checking in on whether or not he is still with this girlfriend. And honestly, it really doesn't matter. Like, you can still find your way to this relationship, whether or not the current moment contains this other person. Now, I always say that when you do think there could be a third party involved, or when you do know there is one, you always want to say that you want to manifest the highest and best for everyone involved, including yourself. So I think that it's important to send love to this person, to the situation, and to mainly just focus on you and him. Now, I would definitely keep working on trying to move to your ideal place and the kind of job that you want. In fact, in seeking this job out, it's kind of the same thing as seeking out a specific person, because it's feeling that you are worth the experience and that you belong there. If you would like to experience a relationship with him, like it's absolutely possible, but you have to allow it to happen in its right timing. Now, I know it's disappointing that you didn't get to see him when he came down to your town and you somehow missed him. But I wouldn't label things and say, well, we must not be meant to be because we didn't bump into one another. Because I think anything can be meant to be. You could bump into one another in a completely different time, in a completely different place. So try not to get so attached to a particular experience. Of course, you would have liked to have seen him. You would have liked to have had him seek you out. But just because that didn't happen doesn't mean you can't end up together. So releasing your attachments is something you're going to want to do. Now, what you're going to want to do on a daily basis is mostly work on yourself. You're a specific person, it's obvious who it is, so don't think that there's any confusion there. You don't want to continually affirm your specific person though, because you want to put more of the emphasis on you and in welcoming in your perfect relationship. Now, in doing that, it's not going general at all, but instead it's streamlining you to the result of the specific person without the resistance. We don't want the resistance. So what I would do is when you wake up in the morning, say, I am ready for this relationship. And you could label it with him. You could also place a lot of emphasis within yourself. I know I am worth a relationship because I am this, because I excel at this, because I love in this particular way, because I know I have a kind heart, and I know I'm a loyal and good person who deserves to be in this committed relationship. On a daily basis, I would affirm that life is continually getting better. I would balance your time manifesting this relationship and also manifesting the job and also manifesting the move. And I would not get discouraged. Again, anything can be meant to be. So feel like you deserve to have your fairy tale ending. You deserve to be with the person that you want to be with the most. Try to release attachments as well. I hope this could help. Okay, let's get to question number 2.
Hey, Veronica, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. My question is that my specific person and I work together. So keeping a balance and really making sure that I'm reaching out for work-related reasons versus because I miss them and I'm looking for a reason to communicate can sometimes be difficult. I feel like I miss him when we're not together, not because we don't have the specific relationship that I'm trying to manifest or that I want, but because when we're together, we vibe so well and we have a fantastic chemistry and so much passion. And so he's one of my best friends. And so I miss the interaction. I don't know, is that creating lack and like what advice, I guess, would you give because we work together and sometimes I have no choice but to communicate? Thank you.
Okay, so I'm happy to give you some help on your specific person. Now, I think the fact that you work together could be definitely used to your benefit. I know that it can be difficult to keep a good balance, like in terms of reaching out. And I would always ask yourself, am I reaching out because I have to? Or am I reaching out because I want to make contact and I want to feel his energy and I want to physically be near him? I would always ask yourself if you're reaching out of desperation, out of neediness, or because it's actual necessity. So be very aware, be very mindful about that. But I think it's totally fine to reach out, and whenever you do, be very unattached. So no matter what the result of it is, even if nothing romantic comes from it, you just still feel fine regardless. So you're not going to be attached to having him have to do a particular thing or say a particular thing. Now, I can understand missing him. I mean, obviously you're human. When you get together, the connection feels great. So of course the absence is going to be hard. But I mean, I would take comfort in the fact that he is one of your best friends and that you do have this connection. I would feel the gratitude for it. And I think that when you can just simply feel grateful for it, that you can have more opportunities to be together and to experience that. So feel like it's something that is multiplying and that it is part of your future in a profound way. Now, I don't think the fact that you miss him at times is creating lack because, again, you're human. I mean, you care about this person. Obviously, you're going to miss them, but whenever you miss them, comfort yourself in knowing that you'll have more experiences together. Now, what kind of relationship do you ultimately want with this person? I would feel like a part of him also craves and also desires these very same things. So start to create a beautiful picture, almost like you're creating on a blank canvas, all of the experiences that you want to have with him. And I would just be totally natural, totally normal around him. Don't try to say the particular perfect right words or act in a certain way, or even look for signs or ways to take action. I would just be totally relaxed, totally yourself, and just feel at home around him. I think the simplicity of just being around someone and being able to interact with him, I mean, the fact that you work together can be a good thing. So use it to your benefit and be your best self. Don't try to be anything that you're not, but just simply be you. Feel very comfortable around him and feel like he is working towards a relationship with you too. And in the meantime, also, while you're manifesting this, also see yourself as that romantic companion, not just that friend, not just that coworker, but actually as someone who gets to have that fairy tale happy ending of romance. And I would even paint a picture of what your relationship looks like, what the wedding looks like, what the other coworkers will say. But I mean, it's possible. I mean, plenty of people work together and then end up with one another. And it would feel like your interaction is naturally headed into that way. And even start to imagine that he comes up with excuses to contact you, work-related things, so he can spend more time with you. Start seeing your value in his world. Okay, question number 3.
Hi Veronica, I am Simona from Italy, and my question is how do I understand if I am letting go of my desire in the right way or I am just giving up on it because of my limiting belief?
Okay, so I think that this is a great question that can help a lot of people. I think that the biggest difference between letting go properly and welcoming in a result and giving up due to limiting beliefs is, well, your reasoning behind it. I think a lot of times people give up because they are angry in some way. So there's a negative emotion or a resentful emotion or just an unpleasant feeling around it. Giving up means that you are changing course of action. You are now manifesting a different result that doesn't contain your desire. So giving up is usually something that you feel strongly connected to not having the desire. So I think that giving up and letting go are obviously not the same at all, because letting go is kind of just putting the desire aside, but still feeling warm and fuzzy about it. Giving up is almost like you're throwing your hands up in the air, you're angry, and you're so frustrated that you're sort of connecting with lack. So I think that you can definitely identify the two, because letting go is going to feel very peaceful. It isn't going to mean that you're necessarily going to continue doing a lot of techniques or a lot of affirmations. Letting go can actually be just taking a break from all of that. And that's okay. You can still get your desire that way because you've let go and you feel at peace. Giving up is sort of this frustrated, self-defeated mode, almost like, you're stuck in a yucky place and you start focusing on new goals. Whenever you give up, your mind automatically will attach to new things to manifest that will have nothing to do with the current intended desire. For example, I'll give you an example. Someone who would give up on a specific person would then suddenly have their eyes on someone new. So they've given up the old person, they've suddenly started to create a desirous attraction towards a new person. Or for example, if you were trying to get into a particular school or have a particular job and you feel like it's a worthless pursuit, then you would start to manifest something different. But in the same general category. I hope that makes sense. So I think, again, letting go is a positive thing. And a lot of times people confuse letting go with giving up, especially when you kind of toss aside the visualizations, the affirmations. But I think that you shouldn't overdo those things. And when you do kind of put them aside, ask yourself, am I putting them aside in a peaceful way? Because I already feel at one with my desire and I'm just going to kind of be me? Or am I pushing them aside in an angry way because I'm fed up and I'm kind of frustrated? So ask yourself, both of these, letting go and giving up, contain focusing in a new area. Either you're focusing on the present moment and just letting go and you're like, I'm okay. My desire will come whenever it comes. Or you're giving up and you're feeling kind of angry and resentful and hurtful and feeling kind of bad about yourself, sort of like a victim. So ask yourself which of the two those are, and it'll definitely give you the answer. Okay, so I hope this could help you, and I hope to visit Italy one day. All right, so thank you so much for all of the people who submitted questions to this podcast. Once again, I am Veronica Isles. If you would like to email me, you can do so at veronicaisles@gmail.com. If you would like your question answered on a future podcast, all you have to do is download the Anchor app, submit me a voice note at Veronica Isles, and it will definitely appear on a future podcast. How easy is that? If you would like to join me for one of my live shows on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe, youtube.com, hit that bell icon, and YouTube will alert you as to when I go online live next. And I also announce those on Instagram. And if you would like to do some one-on-one coaching with me, VeronicaIsles.com is the place to go. I also have 5 eBooks available on Amazon that can help you too. Have a lovely and wonderful day, and I hope this could help.